What's going on, guys? It's the Bulls and the Bears here with the weekly game plan video with the wheel strategy. I'm going to go over a few names that I'm looking at this week to either sell puts on or buy shares on. If you've been following me recently, you know I'm playing a little bit more conservatively by, instead of selling puts, I'm just looking to begin an accumulation of shares in fear that we have some downwards movement to go. I don't want to get locked in with all 100 shares at one level and have the price of the stock really tank if the market should turn around. I am bearish after all. So I've kind of been changing my mindset lately of, instead of just selling a put at one level, just buy 20 shares at that level. Should it move lower, buy another 20, buy another 20. Slowly build into the position. And should it move up before I'm at 100 shares, just sell the shares for a profit. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I have names here that some you could sell puts on, others I'm just looking for levels to buy shares at. First, I'm going to look at SPY here because I do think it's important to kind of look at the market and see what kind of week we might have for us coming up. So here's the daily chart. If I zoom out, we have this overarching descending trend line from the highs back in January. So the all-time highs here. And you can see it's this pretty sturdy line. We've hit it 3 times already. And we have the lower line to boot with it. Within this trend, within this channel or wedge, we have another descending trend line that I drew here. If I go to the hourly chart, you can see it better. Right off this pivot at 431, we bounced off it at 419, and we ran into it at 405, 406, and we broke out of it. We did find some resistance at first, but we ultimately closed on Friday, pushing up through this line, through a supply zone at that, an hourly supply zone that I drew here. So that tells me, the chart is telling me that we broke out, and it's possible we might look to complete this W that we got going on here, where we go all the way back up to 418, 419. Will we complete this symmetrical pattern? Is that a bunch of hoopla? It's tough. The chart's saying we should have room to move up. And if you look over here, I mean, this whole section was just straight down. It was all straight down, and when you go straight down, that means next time you get to that price, it's likely to just go straight up because there's likely not a whole lot of volume in this area. So we could easily just cut right through it to the upside because there wasn't much consolidating. It was all straight down. So all these price levels in between, there's not a lot of volume, not a lot of maybe outstanding orders to absorb the buying, and it will just go straight up through it, cut through it like a knife. That's possible. So that's what the chart's saying, which is kind of tough because it's going against my bias of just being bearish, and other sources that I'm seeing that I trust dearly are also saying it's time to get short right here. That we had a nice little pop. They called this 390 bottom, they called this 431 top, and now they're calling for a top right here at 406. And it's tough. It's tough, especially after last week, and especially after the Fed, knowing that they're going to be aggressive. It's just a matter of time before the markets seem to wake up to this fact. They're even saying, the Fed, these officials are saying the market needs to sell off. Like, they're literally saying it. There's no beating around the bush anymore. They're flat out saying the markets are overpriced. They're not pricing in the hikes that are going to be coming up, and that they need to come down. So I don't know what's happening here. It's very risky, in my opinion, so I'm taking it slow. I'm going with the accumulating shares approach, most likely. But I'm going to go over some names here, and we can take a look at what we want to do. The first one is going to be Altria, ticker symbol MO. This is a tobacco company. I was looking at the chart. I deal with it a lot at work, and it's a solid company that we're behind. And looking at some levels here, it looks like there's some solid areas to possibly build some shares. I'm looking to possibly buy some shares down at in this green zone here, where we have some plenty of support, good demand zone around $42 to $41. You could play the 44 strike for a cash secured put this week. We just kind of came down to there this week, popped up some prior support, prior resistance too. Just got to survive 5 days. Can it stay above 44? If the market really is on a technical breakout for this week, we're probably going to be fine on maybe all of these plays if the market really does stay strong this week. So if you're on that side of the fence, then I think playing 44 on Altria is a pretty safe bet. It's paying, let me see here. Altria options. It's paying about 27 bucks right now. Might be a little less on Monday. Depends on where we gap. But I think it's a viable level. I'm not going to be playing cash secured puts though. I'm going to look to see, maybe I'll buy 20 shares of 44 if we get there, and then I'll start accumulating the bulk of the position down here in the green zone. Otherwise, I'm just going to hold off on it. The next one I'm going to talk about is ZIM. Back with ZIM. It's still hanging around. I'm holding 100 shares of it already, so I'm going to be dealing with it every week. But I do think there's a good level here to play at 29.50, marked here by the yellow line. I am a strong believer that this bottom that we had on Thursday, I talked about this in my recap video right here, I do believe that this is a temporary bottom. Just based on how much we sold off to this point, the severity of this hammer candle with that large lower wick, and we've only moved up since, I believe that that's a temporary bottom. And if it can just hold for 1 week, 5 more days, then this could be a very, very good play. The 29.50 strike is paying $40 right now. So come Monday, it should still be around there, but maybe 30 at the worst. So I think you'll get some solid premium there. I'm already holding 100 shares, and again, I'm playing it more conservative, so I'm not going to be selling puts there. I might look to add some shares there. I don't mind making my position 200 shares, but I'm going to add to it very slowly and leave the possibility to possibly profit on those shares if I am going to add them, because that's what I did last week. I had 100 shares. I added a little bit to the position as it tanked up to 30 shares. We started to pop. I sold those 30 shares for a profit, and I'm back to 100. So that's how I'm going to be playing it. So should we drop down to 29.50, maybe I'll grab another 20 shares and start the building process again there. We have some other support levels that I'll look to add, maybe around 27, 25 if we get there. But I do think probably a greater than 50% chance that this is a temporary bottom and we'll be all right for this current week. So if you want to play the 29.50 strike, I think it's a good level. I'll be watching it myself. I'll look to see if I can sell covered calls on this thing, because the blue line is my adjusted cost basis at 37.10. So there's some distance there, about $5 of distance between my cost basis and where the current price is. So we'll see what happens. I might have to go a couple weeks out. I'm not going to get my 30% annualized return on the covered call premium on a 1 week call. But if I go out 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I might be able to get that. Yeah, enough premium to meet that little requirement. So we'll see what I end up doing. I really don't want to lock up my shares for that long though, so I might just continue to sit on my hands until and just be patient until I get that opportunity. So, but ZIM at 29.50, I think it can work. And that's it for cash secured put levels. That's really all I have is Altria at 44 and ZIM at 29.50. Now, other names that I'm watching to start adding shares to rather than selling puts. One is Barrick Gold, gold mining company. Let's go to the weekly chart for these guys. So I'm looking to start adding shares on this company down at about $14. This big green zone is where I'm going to be happy buying some shares. So as high as about 14 bucks, as low as about 11.50. Looking back at this chart, it looks like we'll find some good support there. I do think gold is going to be bullish in the near future, so I would not mind starting to build a position in a gold mining company, Barrick Gold. So, and I think that's a pretty cheap price relative to the historic price chart. I mean, it got as low as $6 in 2015. So I guess that is the bottom that you could possibly deal with, but I think that's a little dramatic. I wouldn't mind owning shares in the 12 to 14 range. So that's on my watch list. I'm looking at DuPont, ticker symbol DD. I talked about this last week. I didn't buy any shares. I didn't sell any puts on it because I had a pretty strong week. There's no need to do any moves on it and didn't get that low enough. But I am still watching it because it is a company I'd like to own. It's in an industry that I'd like to own in this current environment. I just need to get it at the right price. And I need to get down here at like 53, the earliest. Build some shares more so around 50. And if it gets lower than that, get some more shares down there. So definitely need to keep my positions at about a $50 cost basis at the most. Maybe 51, 52 because my account is bigger, but given my initial $20,000 account, I want to keep these positions no more than a quarter of my account, which would mean a $50 stock or less. So maybe I'll start getting some shares around 53, 52, but I'll make sure my the bulk of my shares are down below 50 should we get there. So DuPont is another one. And Pfizer is the last one I'm going to talk about. This is one that I watched last week. Didn't do anything on it. Look at this this weekly chart here. We have an ascending trend line. This is another company in another industry that I like, that I would not mind holding. I have a green demand zone here. If I go down to the daily chart, you can see how we were in it to start this week, and we pushed up pretty strongly. It comes back down to about 45, back to this green zone, back to the trend line. I'll be happy building a position there at about 45. Should it move lower, down to 43, let's get some horizontal lines in here. Maybe grab some down there. Then at the white line there at 41, I think is a good spot too. So that's what I'm looking at. Pfizer is definitely one that I would not mind holding. So that's what I'm looking to get there. Starting at 45, as low as 41, I think that'll be a pretty good zone to buy some shares and for it to find some support. So I'm liking healthcare. For an industry perspective, healthcare, industrials are ones that I'm fond of in this current environment. It's the discretionary names that I'm not fond of. Financials I'm not fond of right now. So that's what I'm looking at. These are the names I'm looking at. So Altria at 44, ZIM at 29.50 are names you could sell puts on. So let's go back to those. Here's Altria at 44. I think it's a good level of support. And if the market truly is breaking out this week and is going to have a strong or sideways week, we should be fine there. ZIM is another one at 29.50. Same thing applies there. If we're strong, it should be all right. Although I shouldn't really say that, because the SPY and the market had a pretty strong finish of the week, and ZIM didn't. Like, it sold off every step of the way until Thursday, Friday. When SPY was pushing up on Wednesday, ZIM was falling. So I can't say that a positive market or positive SPY is going to be great for ZIM, but it is oversold tremendously. I am fond of that bottoming sign on Thursday, so that's a possibly safe play that you could do there at 29.50. And then the rest, I'm just looking to buy some shares on. I mean, I'm looking to just buy shares on all of them. I'm not selling puts this week, but if you are down to sell puts, if you're comfortable, those would be the names that I would recommend, Altria and ZIM. And that's going to do it. So that's my game plan. Very conservative still. Holding ZIM right now. Willing to add some shares should it get lower. Looking for Altria, DuPont, Pfizer, and Barrick Gold as potential candidates to start buying shares on. I'm not going to be able to own all of them, because that would be more than my account can handle, I think. I haven't done the math yet, but at least 4 of them I'll be able to sustain, and we'll go from there. So if you want to know exactly what I end up doing, follow me on Twitter, link in the description. If I do any trades, if I get into any positions, I'll alert it there. Otherwise, just stay tuned for my weekly update videos and my weekly recap videos. Still going strong there, and that's going to do it. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and as always, I'll see you all next time.